we didn't have any big announcements, huge announcements regarding Windows Mobile at this show. If you saw the keynote, you saw Steve Ballmer do a couple of things, talk about some specifics around momentum for Windows Mobile. And if you were paying attention, and I think those of you who were at the Mobius event in December might have noticed this too, Steve mentioned the sale of 20 million Windows phones in the last year. There's two things that are significant about that. 20 million is probably a much bigger number than the average person would tell you if you stopped him on the CES show floor. And the second thing was how he described it as a Windows phone. And that was a discussion that we had at Mobius about branding and how we think about Windows Mobile and the Windows brand. And it really tied back to this discussion Steve was having, which I view as kind of an explanation of some of the advertising campaign that you've seen, primarily the print campaign, where we show a whole bunch of screens on a page, phones, laptops, TVs, and we see a scenario that happens across those. The one that caught my eye was the motorcycle jumping over a bunch of cars, I think it was. And the tagline that goes along with that is Windows, Life Without Walls. And it sounds like a little bit of a clever thing, Windows without walls, and you make a better door than a window or something like that. But the reality, the technical foundation of that tagline is pretty significant, and it's significant in many dimensions. And I think Steve did a good job of explaining what the hell we mean by that. So what it means, it's represented well by that graphic of the car jumping, of the motorcycle rather, jumping over through the phone, laptop, and TV. And what he's explaining is the redefinition of Windows and the evolution of the platform. For a few years ago, we had the celebration of 20 years of Windows. I actually still have a box. I worked for a computer reseller in Chicago, and we sold Zenith PCs. And when the Zenith was one of the original Windows OEMs, and I have a box of Windows 1.0 that came with the Zenith PCs that we sold. And so that was 20 some odd years ago, and for most of that time, for all of that time, Windows has meant, well, at first it wasn't even called an operating system, right? It was a graphical environment that ran on top of DOS, right? So you had an operating system and you ran Windows. But for most of that time, Windows has been the operating system that runs on the PC. And this discussion that Steve had is really an articulation of the evolution of the platform and a whole bunch of pieces that Microsoft has been working on for years now, almost 10 years in many cases and longer, are falling into place. And it's becoming more and more obvious that the technical leadership at Microsoft really has been thinking about this for a long time and has a plan. And it's not an accident that our phones are called Windows mobile phones. And it's also not an accident that the web services that are branded Windows Live. So when you think about Windows 7, Windows Live, Windows Mobile, that's the platform. It spans the web, the PC, and the phone. And you should have a completeness across those environments in terms of your offerings, which we feel that we have a more complete offering across the PC, web, and phone than anybody else. And you need a degree of integration between those and across that new platform that makes the experiences seamless. And we're getting there. We're making big strides. We have some good examples, I think some of which Steve demonstrated. And we'll make more progress and we'll invest further. So the idea is that if you're a ISV or a service provider, don't think about targeting as an execution environment a mobile operating system or a cloud-based service or a locally executing PC program or service. Think about all of it as the platform and think about programming to all of it. And this began to be discussed around when we unveiled .NET in 2000 at the Forum 2000 event. .NET was about making the internet programmable and having web services that could integrate with the software on your PC and providing a unified way that supported multiple development languages, but it made it easy to take advantage of those services and create programs and experiences that consumed and exposed those services. Now, extending that to the mobile device with the compact framework was always part of the plan. And another example of this is SQL Server. Having SQL Server, a powerful relational database engine up in an enterprise or in the cloud that can be accessed from programs on your PC, but also to have a runtime that ships on Windows Mobile and includes the mobile device and the cloud and the PC in part of that platform. So the pieces have actually been put in place over the last many years, and the branding has evolved. Windows, our mobile platform has been called Windows for a long time, and now the web services piece, some of the MSN, a few years ago, that was rebranded to Windows Live, and that was kind of an intentional act to really talk about the platform in a new way. So the way that it shows up is in some meaningful ways for end users, and Steve showed a couple of those. One of which was the I don't know if it's better with the light on or off. It might be better with the light off. But one of the things Steve showed was a new Netflix application. Where's my... Do we have the remote for this bad boy so we can change the iris setting? I don't know. It's kind of bright. No, it's adjusting. It seems okay. Okay. Windows Mobile Total Access members will be able to download the first official Netflix application for any mobile device, and it's exclusively on Windows Mobile. And here we get a quick look at my wife Jenny's Netflix queue, which has some of my choices and our kids' choices in there as well. But the idea here is I have an application that runs on my mobile device that connects to a cloud service called Netflix that does two things. It sends DVDs, physical DVDs, to my mailbox, and it streams movies to my PC or my Xbox 360 in my big screen, which is the place I prefer to consume movies. Has anybody seen the YouTube rant by Martin Scorsese around watching movies on little devices?
It's not Martin Scorsese, it's David Lynch.
Yeah, is it David Lynch?
Yeah, it is.
About what, the horror of
The really profane one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it is David Lynch. Okay, I think I might have seen a Scorsese one too, but yeah, it's a very passionate plea for watching his movie in the way that he intended it to be watched and not on a little device. I think you could argue if you're riding on the bus though, you're not going to be able to do that. So in any case, the right screen for the job. But the idea here is that there is an experience called watching a movie. Netflix does that for you. It does it in a couple of ways, physically and with atoms and digitally streaming bits over your network connection to your Xbox 360. That experience is extended, not necessarily the movie watching part of it yet, but the management of that queue. So I can search for a movie. The scenario is I can go through and be riding on the bus. I'm going to see if our network is connected here. But I can go ahead and look at my queue of movies that are streamed for the DVD, and I can decide, well, I actually want to watch I'm Not There before I want to watch Margot at the Wedding. So I can manage that queue, move up and down. We've done a really good job of making gesture support here. I can go ahead and scroll through all of my movies. I can actually then quickly look at my instant queue. So they have, again, two ways of watching movies: ship the DVD or stream it to my Xbox. This is streamed to my Xbox or my PC. My wife is really into this, the British version of this coupling show, which is actually pretty funny if you've watched it. But my daughter and I might want to watch Underdog, so I can see a little bit about Underdog. I can actually click this and get a preview, and in fact, a pretty high quality preview of the movie right here on my phone. I don't have sign up here, but you get the picture. So a great way for me to really quickly search and see what's out there, manage my queue, decide, this again, the scenario is I'm riding the bus home from work and I say, okay, we're going to have movie night tonight. What's in my queue? What might be available out there? I feel like a comedy, but I'm going to be with my 9-year-old daughter and I want something appropriate. And I want to know, does that movie suck or not? Let me get a couple of minute preview of it, move it up to the top of my stream. I get home, get off the bus, we're watching the movie right away. So that experience has been extended. A pretty simple but relevant example of the notion of the reality of the new platform encompassing the web, the PC or the TV in this case, and the mobile phone. Not earth-shattering in any real sense, but a good practical example of the direction that we're going. Now, there's some dynamics taking place, and a little bit it was discussed with Eric in his talk earlier, is this idea of how do you maximize how you take advantage of the technology in each of those scenarios. So for example, on the Xbox 360, I have a big high-definition screen and a high-bandwidth network connection. So the application for Netflix that runs there takes advantage of that environment and the technology involved to produce the best experience. Generalizing this idea, the cell phone has relatively high bandwidth network connections, increasingly good displays, but it also, as we were discussing, it has location awareness, it has accelerometers, it has microphones, it has GPS and other things. So how do you expose that programmatically and build in to the platform that you're running access to all of that technology? We're trying to think of another, maybe probably outside of the medical field, another device that crams that much technology into one small package, and we don't think it exists. So it's incumbent on us as a platform provider to, as I said, take a new view of the whole platform, but then also expose all of the relevant capability through our platform and our APIs and our tools in each of these environments, so that if you're writing a program for a web service, or you're writing a program for the PC, or if you're doing something for the smartphone, you can really tap into all that hardware. One good example of this, I think, was another thing that we've been showing this week, and some of the Mobius guys have seen this too, but there's a new 2D barcode technology that Microsoft Research has worked on. I'll see if I can give you a quick glimpse of that. I don't know if it'll focus, but that little colored triangle thing right there is a new 2D barcode technology, Microsoft Tag, that's being worked on by a research group. And there is a whole bunch of information that can be embedded, and one of the advantages of this particular approach is the density of the information, combined with a very readable and kind of fault-tolerant scheme for visualizing the data, so that it works in low light, it works if it's blurry, but it still packs a lot of data. So this is a little 2D barcode that is going to first show up on a lot of Microsoft packaging and in marketing collateral. We're also working with a whole bunch of consumer products companies to include this on their packaging and collateral. Now this is a different application than what you've seen with approaches to looking at UPC barcodes and scanning them and doing price comparison shopping. That's a pretty specific approach to managing a database of stuff and pointing to Amazon and other providers to try and do kind of get me the best price based on my location. So you tie the location awareness to the camera, to the UPC, to the network, to a database, to an Amazon, and you get the best price for something. This is more designed to provide the product manufacturer or the service provider or the movie theater with a way to link you, to connect the physical world of packaging and print and marketing collateral to the internet and the content that can be updated in real time. Folks spend a lot of money putting out packaging and marketing collateral, and if I have a special offer, for example, that expires on May 1st, and then I want to have a different offer after that, today I have to build one set of packaging or collateral that's relevant to May 1st, and then whatever's not used I throw away, and I go on to the next one. Well, with this technology, I'll be able to quickly take this this package and have folks come up with their smartphone and just point it at my thing. And you saw what happened there was it went right to the internet and get me more information about this particular product. In this case, it's the Windows Vista Ultimate, the red campaign product. Now, there's another one that we have that gets to Halo Wars, and it gets streaming video of a Halo Wars preview. You can see where marketers can really tie into this technology to provide a whole bunch more product information. When another scenario is I'm walking through the mall and I see 3 different movie posters, and there's a certain amount of information on the movie poster, and I can make my decision based on that. But I can see a little tag there point my cell phone at it, and very quickly be watching the movie trailer. And I can do that for the 3 movies and base my decision on them, on a lot more information. So it's a way also for marketers to provide more updated real-time information to link again the physical world back to the internet and information. Now there's a whole bunch of analytical stuff that they can do on the back end regarding, is my advertising more effective at the train station or the bus station or the airport, or you know, what actions did people take once they saw this this piece of collateral versus that one. So there's a whole bunch of information. But the other point that I want to make about this, which how we got into this, was the guys in Microsoft Research that are doing this. Our friend Gavin he's a Microsoft Research guy, so these are kind of academians at heart, and so he's by default looking at this cross-platform approach, which as a Windows Mobile guy, like, you know, we want to be first and best on Windows Mobile, but we understand that there's a broad applicability for this to be cross-platform. So he's doing an iPhone version, he's doing a Java implementation, and he's incented to have the user experience be just that good on every platform, where you launch an app and all you do is point the camera, and regardless of the focus and the lighting, it quickly takes you to a web page that gives you more information. That's the ideal scenario. In talking with Gavin, it was really interesting because he describes, he demoed for me the iPhone implementation of this. And because of the fact that the camera functionality is not exposed as well in the APIs, he has to actually launch their camera application, take a picture, save it, have his application look at the image, and then have the user take action to get out to this content. So there's multiple steps involved. That's an example of taking the technology that's in this device and exposing it via APIs in a much more meaningful way for programmers. So Gavin could, on the Windows Mobile version, one touch, I launched the application, and then I just held the phone in my hand, and as soon as that barcode showed up in the image, it automatically took me to the website. A much better user experience with far fewer steps, and it's a lot easier to see how you'd be walking around and see something and just, boom, one touch the application, point it, and you're there, rather than do this multiple steps. And that's because of the platform exposing more directly the functionality of the camera in the APIs of the platform. So we need to do that for, there was a discussion earlier about GPS, location awareness, accelerometers. We need to make sure that all of the technology that's in these things is exposed just that easily. What else did I want to show you? Oh, another thing that we talked about at the show was turkey bowling. And in the context of Adobe Flash support in the browser. My network may have fallen asleep on me here. See if I can get that to wake back up. We announced a new version of Internet Explorer Mobile that will be shipping in Q1 on new phones that supports Adobe Flashlight 3.1, JavaScript. We have a new scripting engine and a better HTML rendering, and a whole bunch of stuff that's coming out on new devices later this quarter.
Are you going to be able to retrofit all the devices with it?
I'm sorry,
Are you going to be able to retrofit all the download?
retrofit devices. No, we wanted to, and we looked at this, and we really optimized for the end user experience, and we took a look at what we'd be able to do, sending this out as a cab file and having users apply it. There is enough hardware-software integration that's specific to each of the phones that this is going to run on that makes it that we couldn't guarantee a good user experience as universally as we wanted to. So we made, along with the mobile operators and OEM partners, we made the tough decision to have this available only on new phones.
20 million smartphones.
20 million smartphones that today have the ability. So here's the thing. I've got other YouTube clients, right? It's not just about watching YouTube. I can have an iPhone and watch a subset of YouTube videos and have that rendered on my iPhone. A lot of the web is built in Flash, and I can't see any of that on other platforms. So with this, I'll be able to do that. We would have liked to have been able to provide that capability backward to those 20 million people, but looking at the hardware-software integration requirements, the user experience for too many of them, we couldn't guarantee. And so that's why we made the tough decision to have it on new phones only. One of the things you'll also see here is I've got pan and zoom with touch right in the browser. Go ahead and go to let's see. Go back here and tell him to run the video. I can't do mine. It's this darn Samsung Omnia. Where's Eric? I'm using the wrong phone.
What do you need there?
Oh, I was wondering actually earlier when you were talking about the the Touch HD with a keyboard. Was that a product announcement?
What?
Did I miss the product announcement about the Touch HD with a keyboard?
No, people were asking for it.
I know, I'm just teasing. Oh, okay, we lost our. Yeah, I'm having a little.
Would you like me to fake announce a product right now?
No. No, I thought you may have accidentally announced the product right now. Okay, I think I lost my network connection, but the idea here is that it's not just about watching a YouTube video, which is cool, right? But you can do that with a client. It's about being able to see more of the internet and internet radio service. And this is just another quick example of the notion of treating the PC, the web, and the mobile phone as the whole platform, right? So I sign up for a Pandora account. I tell it a couple of things about the music I like. I create a login. I have that on my PC. I have a little sidebar gadget that I can run and party on all the time with my music on my PC. Now I install a program on my mobile phone. I log in. It knows those same preferences. It's a connection to that same service that spans the PC, the web, and the phone. So it's another pretty straightforward and simple example around a music scenario that really treats the PC, the web, and the phone as part of the same new platform. And this is an idea that you'll see more and more articulation and more examples of from us.